I also want to recognize another individual here today, and that's the brave men and women of the North Carolina National Guard. I've worked with you before as a mayor, and I know I'll have to work with you again as governor, and I'll be proud to do just that, because you've helped me as a mayor step up to the plate. And you've dealt with flooding, you've dealt with saving lives, you've dealt with major storm damage all across the state. You move at a moment's notice. And I just want to thank you for your incredible work that you've done here in this state, and also how you're being used also for deployment in Afghanistan, Africa, the Balkans, Egypt, Kuwait, across the world. At a moment's notice, you get the call. And we've had over 600 soldiers deployed. And I'll tell you, I can't tell you how much I appreciate. You guys are my heroes. You men and women are my heroes who have gone overseas at a moment's notice and taken the sacrifice. Even some old guys like me are going across there. And what you've done, I just can't tell you how much we as a state appreciate your service to our country, not just to our state. I also want to let you know that I'd like to thank Major General Lusk, who has served as Adjutant General of North Carolina National Guard for nearly 3 years. You have been an outstanding leader, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate your leadership. In this position, he has commanded the nearly 12,000 men and women of the North Carolina Army and National Guard. A combat veteran, he has led the 30th Heavy Brigade combat team during its 2009 deployment of Iraq, and he did an outstanding job in that leadership. Under his command, North Carolina has risen to the 9th of 54 states and territories in personal readiness as measured by the National Guard Bureau. We are second in that measurement compared to the large states. Personal readiness is a key metric of how the National Guard ranks each state, and clearly he has done an outstanding job. Would you agree with me that he's done an outstanding job? Now, as governor, I have the opportunity to name the Adjutant General, and I've reviewed a pool of candidates to make that decision. And after reviewing a very talented pool of candidates, I'm pleased to announce today the reappointment of Major General Lusk as Adjutant General of the North Carolina National Guard. I did this because he's the most qualified. I did this because of his incredible, outstanding record and his leadership of over the past 3 years, and his leadership the whole time he's been in the Guard. I'm especially impressed with his international experience, which is very, very important for all the people in this room. And Secretary Shanahan and I were part of this joint decision, and I'm very pleased with that decision. And I'd like to now congratulate Major General Lusk for his outstanding past 3 years, and I expect many more years of outstanding leadership. Come on up, and I want to shake your hand and say congratulations to you. Thank you very much for accepting that. Let me say a few words.
Wow. Governor McCrory, I can't tell you how much this really means to me. So I'd like to just first start off with the very obvious thank you. Thank you for the tremendous honor and the opportunity to serve as the Adjutant General of the North Carolina National Guard. And by so doing, you've entrusted an awful lot of responsibility and trust to me individually. But from that, of course, I get the great pleasure and the privilege of working under Secretary Shanahan's leadership as a member of the team of the Department of Public Safety that is extremely talented and very committed to the work that they're doing. But probably what means a lot to me personally is just the honor and the privilege of continuing to serve alongside, in uniform, I might add, with these selfless but yet committed North Carolinians that comprise the North Carolina National Guard, and they are indeed a tremendous group of people. See, our first and foremost, our priority, our mission is to make sure that we train and we equip, and we provide to you, sir, the Commander-in-Chief of our National Guard, the ready forces that are needed to respond to the needs of our citizens across our state. And this is indeed quite a daunting task, and at times it can be challenging, but never has there been a time when it has not been rewarding. And it's an obligation that we all take very, very seriously. And among those 12,000 men and women that comprise our force, they've joined a long line of militia and National Guardsmen who have gone before us when we have symbolically cast aside our plowshares, put our lives on hold, picked up the musket, which symbolizes our answering the state and our nation's call to duty. And we've done so repeatedly. And nothing probably says it more so than these last almost 12 years of persistent conflict where so many North Carolinians have deployed around the world in support of our national security objectives and have done so in a tremendous fashion, been successful at every mission assigned. And I know that they have honed, I've seen it with my own eyes personally, firsthand, that they have really sharpened an awful lot of skills that I know will be able to be leveraged for the benefit of North Carolina. So indeed a tremendous honor to be here. Sir, we're duty bound. We're committed to maintaining and achieving our vision of being the most ready, the most responsive, the most reliable, the most relevant military force for our state and our nation. And we're all committed to that, and we're working in unison every single day. Let the metrics that you just talked about be proof of our teamwork and our ability to do that. And we won't stop. We won't rest on our laurels. We know that there's plenty of work to do. As we head into this hurricane season, and as you said, sir, we pray that no hurricanes will visit our shores. But if they do, we hope that all of our fellow citizens will be reassured with the fact that we're ready for mission. And I know that under your leadership and under Secretary Shanahan's leadership, that if by joining the North Carolina National Guard with Director Sprayberry's team of the emergency management, as well as so many other members of our State Emergency Response Commission and team, we'll be successful. And I don't think that there's a more calming effect on an anxious citizenry, perhaps, than seeing a North Carolina National Guardsman show up on a scene and work side by side with a local county or state responder, particularly as the floodwaters are rising and right in the aftermath of a storm. It is a calming effect, and I can also say honestly, personally, that there's not a job that gives us a more sense of pride and fulfillment than to serve our own citizens right here on our very own streets of North Carolina. A place that we call home, a place that we reside in every community from Murphy to Manio. This is our home, and we contribute to it every single day, and we're proud to be part of it. So we have a vested interest in the job that may come to us in the future. But we're always ready, and we're a ready team. As you mentioned, we talked about teamwork, and it extends far beyond just the National Guard and people in uniform, but so many other state, county, local, and nonprofit organizations out there. So, in closing, sir, just as I know you've just reappointed me, and my name will be the one on the headline, I just want to publicly acknowledge that the metrics that you just mentioned were the result of a tremendously dedicated, professional, and capable team of individuals that have leaned into the job at hand. And they deserve all the credit. They deserve all the accolades, and they deserve all the praise. And I know that we will continue to demonstrate and say our appreciation to them every chance that we get. So thank you for bestowing upon me the honor of continuing to serve not only yourself but our citizens and these great soldiers and airmen of the National Guard. But sir, it's an absolute sincere honor, and I'm humbled to serve as your Adjutant General of our North Carolina National Guard, sir. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. I do. And it's quite a tradition to offer challenge coins, sir. I'd like to give you one today just to commemorate this moment. So I guess it's out of the bag that this wasn't a total surprise.
Well, he was giving it to me in the back room, and I said, no, I do it out front. I'm pretty honored.
But when we came in and we started looking for a challenge coin, there's a way that we can really appreciate and recognize excellence in service. We sought some input from the field. Had like 13 or 14 submissions came in. We picked some ideas of about 3 or 4 of them. And this kind of symbolizes the North Carolina National Guard. We are a joint force comprised of Army and Air. I invoked my executive privilege of being an Army officer by putting the Army red on the front, but pay the absolute utmost respect and tribute to our Air Force, our Air National Guard brothers primarily in Charlotte, your whole town. We use the national motto of always ready and always there, and right down the middle of it is a long line of evidence that indeed for 376 years the National Guard has been part of our nation's fabric and history. But we're committed to a team because it's a team that will succeed. And that's the lineup of our team, all of our major subordinate commands across the state. I do tell the story to the people that these are 14-karat gold as well. I just asked them to come back and tell me how much they really get for it, should they ever try. But
It's an honor. Thank you.
my pleasure.
Thank you very much. I will display this proudly in the governor's office in downtown Raleigh, also recognizing I have an office right down the hallway here. Most people don't realize, but the governor has an office here, and I hope not to have to use it this year. But we'll be ready to use it when necessary. And one of the things I learned in emergency operations is just keep the politics out of it. You let the people who've been trained do their job, and then if they need help from us, we'll provide the assistance and communications to the public at large. And I understand that clearly. And again, Secretary Shanahan, I'd like to thank you for an outstanding recommendation regarding the Adjutant General. I think you've made a very good choice. Let's give him another round of applause. This great team we have among all four of these individuals. Should we take questions, or?
We have time for about two questions.
Just a few questions, and then I got to get to work. Secretary Tata from DOT is having a meeting here. I'm going to go talk to the DOT people, and by the way, he's another very, very important part of this team who also, along with my entire cabinet, participated in emergency exercises here. And I'm very, very proud of my, I think 15 members of my team participated. I'd like to recognize Chief of Staff Thomas Stiff, who's also in the room. Chief, glad to have you here. Thank you very much. It's just a few quick questions, primarily hopefully related to this, so we don't ruin the moment. Yes.
Governor, how strong is the state financially to respond to a number of hurricanes?
Well, one thing that I put in my budget that I'm very proud of is to make sure we have enough reserves, and that's one of the things that was my first priority in my budget, was to ensure that we have enough reserves in case of a major emergency, and that includes the hurricanes or even a man-made, which I hope never happens. So that was one of my first priorities, that I did not think we had enough in reserves to deal with a crisis, and I'll fight to keep that money in the budget as we negotiate during the next several weeks. Any other questions? Yes, yes, ma'am. We're actually doing a review of that right now. First of all, Secretary Shanahan is doing a public safety tour of schools throughout North Carolina to ensure that we can respond to the tragedy that occurred up in Connecticut, and safety measures. But every type of emergency is very similar regarding evacuation, regarding other things. But let me just tell you this, we can never be over-prepared. We have to constantly help in communications and never take for granted. One thing I realized in my leadership experiences, especially your turnovers of principals and teachers and superintendents and generals and emergency operations workers, so you can never take for granted that the new people have been trained, and the student turnover, of course. Do you want to add anything else to that?
I would just add that there are state standards in place for new construction on schools, and we are going to review that in light of the recent disaster. I mean, tornadoes are hard to predict, of course, but shelter for the kids and evacuation plans are certainly part of what we're looking at. But there are state standards in place that do govern that, actually.
Thank you. One more question, then we'll proceed. Any other? Fantastic. Thank you all very much. It's great to be here. Thanks to, hey, I want to thank your families too. We didn't mention the families. The families, when you're deployed, whether it be in the state or overseas, they're the ones who I think make the ultimate sacrifice. And I just want to please convey the thanks to your kids and your spouses and loved ones, and just say thank you, and God bless each one of you. Thank you very much. Congratulations.